Right, so Jeremy Corbyn, he's been deselected, and so attention turned to who Labour might be inflicting on the people of Islington North instead. And of all the people to have put in the frame for that, Keir Starmer's hatred of the left and embracing of Tory policy has so far put a chap called praful nargund in the frame as one such possible successor to Corbyn's candidacy for Labour. Between the teeth and the hair, he looks like a kind of an amalgam of Rishi Sunak and Keir Starmer, just with a beard. So what makes him better than Corbyn then in the eyes of Team Keith? Nargund is a private healthcare CEO, who together with his mother Geeta started Create Fertility, an IVF business which has grown to become a chain of private clinics. And well, we know how much the likes of Starmer and Streeting are embracing private healthcare as the donations from that sector come rolling into them. Indeed, Nargund's company's house information shows his business interests were in private health before this, and he also acts as CEO for IVF fertility clinics, sister clinics to Create, called ABC IVF, based in London and Bristol, and also Vita Nova, based in Copenhagen. Lots of fingers, lots of pies, all in private health, specialising in fertility. You know, if you listen to Nargund tell it, though, he says there's a postcode lottery for IVF in the UK, and they wanted to do something about that. Sure, if you can afford to pay for it, though. NHS IVF is £5,000 a pop as it is. It's expensive. According to Nargund's LinkedIn, the point of this company he and his mother set up was to make IVF more natural, safe and affordable. All very altruistic, I'm sure. You know there's a catch coming if you've watched my stuff before, because if it was all about the greater good, all about transforming the IVF market, offering an alternative to the traditional IVF methods on offer elsewhere, why did you and your mother sell out in what City AM called the biggest deal in the UK's IVF sector ever, when you allowed a US healthcare giant called Invirma Global to acquire a majority share in Create Fertility then? In fact, not just Create Fertility, but also in those sister companies, ABC IVF and Vita Nova. Between the three companies, that is 21 clinics. Of course, this all gets presented as a big coup for the UK to have a big US health investor, but we know what happens in the US healthcare system. We know it's all about money. And the cynical will not see this as being about anything else here either, despite Nargund and his mum remaining the CEOs. The fact Nargund himself has written for City AM in the past himself, I'm sure, is no reflection of their praise for this move either. In fact, adding further fuel to the fire that he's being lined up to take a run at Corbyn's seat, Nargund and his mum have had a puff piece on Create Fertility published in no less than the Murdoch Times just in the last week. It's all a bit coincidental, isn't it? He's also been quoted in the Tory graph in relation to fertility issues. Is it just the scum to go to collect the set then, is it? Fundamentally, this is exactly the kind of guy those pushing a stealth privatisation of the NHS like Starmer and Streeting love. His company's ethos is to be cheaper than the NHS, it would appear, undercutting it where it has to charge in order to promote that vision that it's a failing system. Although his company's website doesn't have a public price list, with everything being tailored to suit the individual, the Times piece quotes a price of half that the NHS charges. The most profitable bits of the NHS have long since been taken out by outsourcing companies. The less profitable bits are all that is left. Something like IVF pricing, which the NHS will have little room to budge on, is going to find it difficult to compete with private provision with smaller overheads. The NHS, by rights, should be able to offer the service for free for those who need it. It is what the NHS was set up to do. But free at point of use is all dependent on what you need from it these days. And that isn't the whole story at all, really, when we're all paying more for our health service via the public purse. It's not free at all, not really, with much of the funding that it gets, record-breaking funding, of course, all being creamed off again by outsourcing companies. It's just another nail in the coffin for our National Health Service, another opportunity for right-wing papers to punch it when it's already down. So he's private health. Let's park that bit for a minute. Why is he so keen to run to replace Corbyn? Well, Nargund is also an Islington councillor, almost completely dominated by Labour councillors, save for a handful of Greens, as that council is. He's already been publicising his canvassing for local elections, building up a little profile for himself, but notably he turned the comments off on his Twitter post about this pretty sharpish recently when people started questioning him about why he was in the position to throw his hat in the ring and become an MP at Corbyn's expense, with the bad blood his blocking from the candidacy in such an undemocratic manner has brought. How many of the people wishing to query him are would-be constituents, maybe? It's not a very good look, and it's thin-skinned as sin to hide like that. People want answers from you. If you're going to stand for public office, you're going to have to be able to provide these answers to them. You're preparing to stand, and before you're even selected, you're hiding away. Of course, there are some who are liking this tweet, not least of which the Islington Labour Twitter account. Now, this isn't the Twitter account of the North Islington constituency Labour Party. They've made their continuing pro-Corbyn stance very clear. This is the account of the Labour contingent of Islington Council, and this adds yet more to the speculation that this guy could be Starmer's man. So far, I'm not aware of anyone else having announced their intentions to apply for this candidacy, but if they go for this chap, this red Tory, this anti-NHS pro-privatisation agenda of Team Keith will be downed by yet another piece of evidence proving the case that people are already making against him. Thanks for watching. If you appreciated this video, please do hit like and subscribe, leave a comment and hit the notification bell too so you don't miss the next one. Also look out for me on social media and other interesting stuff by clicking on the Linktree link in the comments below, and I'll see you next time. Cheers, folks.